All right, guys, I am back. I'm going to try this one more time and hopefully it will cooperate with me. So my name is Julie Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And tonight I am going to be going over one of my class to goes, which normally I do not do live. This is normally a class where you guys register for it. I send you all of the card kits, everything, all the dies cut out with it, so that you can make this along with me. But it's a pre-recorded video that I send with you via email, along with all of the step-by-step PDF instructions that you can download. But tonight I just wanted to give everybody, I've had a lot of people asking me exactly what it is, and so we're going to walk through and make all of the cards tonight so that you can see the type of video that you'll be receiving when you sign up for one of my class to goes. If you're on with me tonight, especially for those of you that are in the class tonight, and I apologize for all of this crazy technical problems that we're having tonight. But if you are on with me, you can type in the comments, let me know you're here. Also, if you have any questions, you can type them in the comments. And also, if you rewatch this video later, you'll be able to type in comments and I will be able to see them. They do pop up on my phone periodically, maybe not right as you do it, but they will if you are watching the replay of this. So let me just get some housekeeping out of the way. There's my hostess code for anybody that's going to want to place an order. You place an order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. And then obviously you are either watching me on my Facebook or YouTube channels, but there they are up there. And so one thing I do want to talk about here really quick is my next class coming up is going to be the Craft Along. We're going to be using the spotlight on nature, and I did not have, because of all this technical problems, I was not able to put the link in the comments yet so that you can register for that. But as soon as I am done, I will get that link put in there. So if you do watch me live, you can come back, watch it again, or just come back, click on the comments, and the link for you to register will be there. All right. So let's get started while I still have a little blue symbol on my on my page. That tells me my internet is somewhat working, so let's hope we are. All right, so we're going to be using this stamp set and die. Now, if you ordered the kit and you do not have this stamp set, the dies you don't have to worry about because I already pre-cut them all and you should have them in your kits. But the stamp set you may not have. You may have decided you really don't want it. And so what you're going to need to do is anytime that I am stamping a sentiment, anytime that I am stamping an image, you will need to use one of your stamps, one of the stamp sets you have, to actually stamp and use that. So if you've got a stamp set that has airplanes in it, if you've got a stamp set that has flying birds in it, balloons, any of that will work for this. All right, so just those are some examples of what you can do. So let's get moving on our first card. Now, those of you that are in the class to go, you should have your PDF where I emailed that to you, and so you should have that. And hopefully you have been able to download those. Again, if you haven't been able to download them, please reach out to me so I can make sure you do have those. So we're going to work on our first card. And again, just keep in mind that I have pre-cut. So let's kind of look at what should be in your first card kit. So you should have received the card base, and then you should have all of these pieces that were cut out. Now you guys received a whole packet of this designer series paper, but I did cut some of the pieces for you so that your card would be ready to go. And so you should have a large white deckled circle. You should have 3 white deckled circles, and then you should have 3 other circles like this. All right, so if you want to flip to the second page of your PDF instructions, I always list all the card cuts first. And then what products I'm using, and then on the second page you'll see instructions. So we are actually going to follow these instructions so that you can make this card again if you want to, because you guys have plenty of paper to be able to do this again or make some semblance. So let me move that out of the way, because the first thing that we're going to work with is this little deckled circle. We're going to be using our Versamark ink, and we are going to be bringing in our embossing additions kit. So the additions kit comes with the tray, those two tools that you see right there, an embossing buddy, so that you can do heat embossing. So, and if you guys don't have heat embossing and you're not able to do this, then my suggestion for you is to stamp your sentiment on a piece of white, fussy cut around it, and then stick it in the center of this. All right, so now I'm going to bring in the Versamark ink, which is what you guys will need to be doing. And we are using the saying, if you have this set, we're using the saying that says flying by to say hi. That's the one that you'll want to be using. If you don't have this set, then hopefully you've got another sentiment ready to go. So we're just going to ink that up, and we're going to stamp it right in the center. And anytime that you are using, you know, Versamark ink, let me see if I can get this close so that you guys can see. You want to make sure that you can actually see. Sometimes I have to put my hand behind it. So you can see that it did stamp that pretty clear. And that's what you want to make sure that you see before you add the paper. Now, the reason that we did the embossing buddy first is because the cool thing about the embossing buddy is it stops this powder from sticking to anything except the sentiment that you have stamped. All right, so I am going to get this out of the way. And then I'm going to bring in my heat tool. I am going to keep this little tool here. This heat tool gets pretty darn hot. And the best way when you're using heat tools, the best method to get into is I want to turn this on so that it heats up. So I'm going to get that going so that it's getting nice and hot. And then I'm going to pick this up with my, I actually want to do it in my left hand with the little tweezers that come in that kit. Whoops. And now I am going to heat this up. And this is actually a pretty quick process. So all you want to do is you want to heat this up until it turns glossy. And you don't want to stay on this very long. So as soon as it's glossy, like that, and I'll bring it closer for you to see. So as soon as you see it become glossy, like this, and it doesn't, because when you have the powder on there, it was kind of flat. It looked flat. But once you see it glossy, then stop, because if you keep going, you'll actually overheat it, and then the color starts disappearing. So just a note for that. All right. So on, you should have had and did I not put it in mine? Okay, so on the 3 3/4 by 5 basic white piece, we are going to do this following stamping, and we are going to be using Night of Navy ink. So get your Night of Navy ink, and I would leave it out because I did a lot with Night of Navy. And this is going to be for the inside. So we want Night of Navy ink and Mossy Meadow. Now, if you only have one of these colors, then use the color you have. And I'm going to come in with the smallest airplane. And we are going to get this airplane, and we are going to stamp it just partially on here. Then I need to clean this off. And I'm just using my chamois to clean it off with. Then I'm going to ink it up with the Mossy Meadow ink. And we're going to do another airplane just above this one. not coming in and coming in even less than that one. So we have those two little airplanes. Let me move it so you can see. I'm going to close up this ink right now just so I don't stick my hand in it, because as most of you know, I'm really good at sticking my hands in it. Especially when I'm trying to do my online class, because I'm trying to, I've got things in certain places and I sometimes sit things in odd places. So the next thing that we want to do is, there's a sentiment in this stamp set that says, "You always lift me up." That's the one I'm using. Again, if you did not get this stamp set, you can still do these class to goes without the stamp sets. You just pick what sentiment you want. And I'm just going to move this down. So you guys know that one of the ways that I make sure I stamp straight is I have a graph paper, or if you have the glass mat, you can put it on the glass mat, and I line it up straight to begin with. And then when you come in with your stamp, it is a little bit easier to get that on there straight, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to clean this one. And again, don't forget, guys, those of you that purchased the kit, if you are on with me tonight, I know some of you couldn't be, but if you are on with me and you have any questions, or if I'm going a little bit too fast, you can say, "Can you slow it down just a bit?" So then what we're going to do is, the next set of instructions are the die cutting and embossing, and I've already done all of that for you. So you can just skip right past that information. But the reason I gave that to you in your PDF instructions is because I wanted you to be able to recreate this card, because I know you've got plenty of designer series paper to do that. Okay, so now we are going to, again, we should be on the assembly section, and so we're going to bring in our card base. And again, even if you're not in the class, if you guys have any questions, you can let me know. So we're going to bring in this card base, and so we are going to take the Mossy Meadow, kind of the map looking DSP that you should have had in your kit, and we are going to attach this to the front of this card. So I'm going to be using my Stampin' Seal Plus. You guys can use whatever adhesive is your favorite. Some people like the green glue, and you just use whatever you want to use. All right. So now we're going to lay that down like so. And then the next thing we're going to do is we are going to adhere all the coordinating pieces to these, the white deckled circles. So the cloud goes on the biggest one. I'm sorry. I did forget to put this in the stamping instructions, and I do apologize for that because I forgot that I did this. But for this one, we want that Mossy Meadow ink, and we want that little airplane again. And you want to come in, and you're just going to come in at different angles here. And you're just going to get this airplane on there. You might even want to put like a wing coming up there. Just like that, okay? I'll bring that closer so you can see. So you basically just kind of want to get a pattern on there. And I apologize, that is missing out of your instructions. So that is one of the things that you will want to stamp. Now, if you don't want to stamp it, you don't have to. I think it looks a little bit better stamped, but that is totally up to you. Just remember, guys, these are your cards, and you do them the way you want to do them. All right, so let's start with this one. I am going to use green glue here. Maybe, if my green glue decides to cooperate with me. This one, it either comes out in clumps or it doesn't want to come out. All right, so I'm just going to turn this over, and we are going to attach this to the front of that deckled circle. And I did use the deckled circle dies for this, just in case you were wondering. All right, and then this one is going to go on the next biggest deckled circle. The nice thing about the deckled circles, as you can see, is they have a lot of different sizes, so you can layer. And that's what allows us to have the white mats behind it, because it has it has all of these different sizes. Okay, and then in this smallest one, we're going to do our little sentiment that we did earlier. Oh, that's not good. That went all the way to the floor, and believe it or not, it landed face down, so the glue never touched anything. What are the chances of that? All right, and I apologize for my coughing, guys. I am allergic to cottonwood, and it literally looks like it's snowing at my house. The cottonwood trees are in full bloom. All right, so once you have all of these put together, then you're going to want to adhere them to the card front. Now, on your PDF, there is a picture that you can follow as far as placement, or you can place this wherever you want to see it. But just remember that you do have pictures on that PDF instructions that I emailed to you. And again, if you didn't get those, make sure you check your spam. It's coming from Julie's Creative Stamping. And check your spam and make sure that you have those. If you don't have those, I'm walking you through step by step here, but it's going to be nice to have that again, because you got a whole, you got a whole packet of this DSP, and you might want to make some more cards. So this is going to go here. Now, I did not pop up any of the circles. And again, I am just using liquid glue at this moment to do this. Now, the nice thing is as you're watching this, if you were like, dang, I wish I had gotten that class, it is too late to get the whole class, but it is not too late to get all of these card kits, okay? And everything that you see in the card kit besides the stamping, you can still get. All you have to do is between now and next Wednesday is place a $40 order, and then you can get all of these card kits mailed to you. You're not going to get the goodie bag with it, but you will get the card kit so that you can come back and watch this video and make these kits. Make these kits, make these cards. It's going to be one of those nights, ladies. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is that piece that we stamped earlier, that 3 3/4 piece by 5. We're going to adhere that to the Mossy Meadow piece that you should have in your kit. And then we're going to take this and put on the inside. And I think I skipped the step on building the airplane. So if that's the step you're on and you're building the airplane, do that. We will just be a little backwards from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the inside. On the next card, I'll try to follow exactly my instructions. Okay, so that's going to go on the inside of your card. Guys, I really had a good time designing all these cards, and I love this suite. I love the paper. I love the dies. I love, and most of you know, I love the color scheme. This is my jam, or my color scheme. Oh my goodness, I cannot find my take your pick tool. There it is. Isn't it funny how you lay everything out and try to get ready and you just don't seem to be able to? So one thing that I may not have poked out all the little pieces that need to be poked out on your airplane. So I am going to be bringing in my silicone mat for this to build this airplane. And I think I have already, okay, so you should have this blue, the detailed blue, the solid mossy meadow, and then you should have a little silver propeller in your kit. So the way I did this was I kind of lined it up to kind of see where it was going to be touching, where these were going to be touching each other. And then that is where I applied the glue. So I applied the glue here, I applied the glue on this top, and then on the wheels and on this part. So you'll see exactly. Now I am going to bring in my, this is the green glue. I've just put it in a smaller tip. I put it in here so that I have a smaller tip for this exact thing. So when I am doing these cards like this, where I'm just putting little drops of glue, it just makes it easier for me in the whole gluing process to do it this way. And then along this top edge right here. Okay, so now I'm just going to turn this over and I am going to attach it to the mossy meadow piece. And you may need to hold it for, you know, a few hot seconds. And then I'm going to take this glue again, and right here on the end of this airplane, I'm going to add that, and I'm going to add the propeller to that. And again, I'm going to hold it just for a hot second. Oh, and see, look, I see a little piece right there that I didn't poke out. You always find those things. Okay, so this one I do want to pop up. So I'm actually going to use the mini dimensionals. Again, you use whatever you have. I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to the white paper so you can see it a little bit better. Oh, that's not the mini dimensionals. I lied. I grabbed the wrong stack. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to come in with mini dimensionals just because it's got a lot of little tiny areas that I want to make sure that I get popped up. And again, if this is a card that you're going to be mailing to somebody, you're definitely going to want to make sure you put plenty of dimensionals on here. Because, you know, the post office runs it through that little rolly contraption. And there's no reason to work this hard on a card and make it look super cool. And then not put enough dimensionals so that it will pop back into place once the post office is done with it. Now another idea is to use the bigger, you wouldn't have to use as many if you use the bigger dimensionals, and then you could just, these smaller places where I'm putting them, and I may do that on the next card just to show you what I'm talking about. You could just cut pieces down to fit. So I'm going to need a piece that goes right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this side over here, and I am going to cut me a couple of strips, you know, nice thin strips. And I am going to stick those on here. Again, so that it helps hold that up. So if you guys are hearing noise, that's my family. Just excuse them. They're all coming in the door right now. And they sometimes forget that I'm doing my lives. So let's get all of this off of here. So we're going to just pull all of these off. And again, guys, you can make comments. You can ask questions if you have any questions. Okay, so then I'm just going to take this, and I just want to make sure that this fits on the front of the card base, and you can adjust it however you want to adjust it. And voila, we have card number 1. Isn't this pretty? You know, for some reason I'm in love with this airplane. I really, really like this airplane. So this just says flying by to say hi, and you always lift me up. So what a cool card, right? So there is card number 1. All right. So I'm going to give you a few hot seconds while I grab, and then you'll want to grab your next card kit, which is card number 2. And I will be going over everything that you should have in this kit. So I'm not going to take a lot of time in between because I don't want this to be like super long. I don't mind it being long when I'm not live, but when I'm live, these can get tedious. You're also going to need the trinkets that came in your kit. So all the trinkets that you got. And you're going to need the linen thread. Wait, I don't know if you're going to need it for this one. I will find out in a second. But you will need that linen thread, so I would pull it out. All right. So for this card, you should have a cherry cobbler card base. You should have a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white. You should have a 4 by 5 1/4 designer series paper. It's this gray one with the airplanes flying on it. You should have, I believe this is a 3 by like 5 1/4 piece of white. And then you need this little piece here. And you need this square here. I think that's all that should be in that kit. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is do the stamping, because this one we are going to be stamping and coloring. So this one you're either going to need the Stampin' Right markers, or you're going to need the blends to do these cards. So what we're going to do is we are going to use black Memento ink. And we are going to ink up all 3 of the airplanes. So we're going to have this big airplane. So hopefully you already have these on blocks. I guess I should have told you that too, is if you have them, get them on blocks. Now again, guys, this is the one where, let's say you don't have this set, but you have another set that has, you know, maybe a helicopter in it, and a different type of airplane. And so you're just going to stamp, or maybe you don't have any airplanes and you need to use like some geese flying, or some birds flying, or some hot air balloons. This is where you're going to stamp those on here. And then we are going to color these. And then you'll get to see me do some die cutting here. Okay, so I've got those stamped. I'm going to clean my stamps real quick. So I hope you guys are enjoying this kit. I had a really fun time designing all these cards for this, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. And I hope it also inspires you to make more cards with the rest of the designer series paper that you have in your kit. All right. All right, so now you either want to pull out your markers, and you're going to need Cherry Cobbler and Night of Navy. So either markers or blends. I'm going to be using the blends. And I am going to try to zoom in a little bit so you can see how I do the coloring on these. I actually went kind of fast when I colored these. So let me, okay, there we go. I think you'll be able to see that pretty good. So basically I did the bodies with the cherry cobbler and I did the wings in Night of Navy. And so I just came in, and basically all I did was any place that it already had like some lines, and what I thought was some shading is what I did with the dark, like the dark cherry cobbler. And then I came in with the lighter cherry cobbler. And I think I just saw another place I want to put some dark. So I do want to put some dark kind of in this area right here. All right, and then I just came in with this lighter one and I just blended it. So all you're going to do is just blend this together. And so that's going to take care of, and I did do the top of this wing, like this part, which I consider the body, is cherry cobbler, but I left these two side wings back here for the Night of Navy. Oh, I'm sorry, and I did bring in a light smoky slate for this as well. Okay, so same thing with the wings. I'm coming in with my dark Night of Navy first. And I'm just kind of marking where there's art, where basically the design already has them there. And I think I bet I used black too, because I see the wheels. Ah! Okay, so then I'm going to come in with my lighter Night of Navy. So as you guys can see, so for those of you guys that are just watching and didn't get the kit, like I said, I don't normally do the kits live. And the reason is because I do go step by step. So normally what would happen is everybody who bought this kit, and they still will, when I get done with this video tonight, I am recording it. And so I will send it to them. So then, you know, because, you know, I do this at 6 o'clock at night, and maybe you, you know, you're on Eastern time, and this time just really didn't fit you well. So the nice thing about my class to goes is you don't have to be here live. You can come in, and now I'm using the smoky slate. You can once I send you the link to the video, you can just pop in on the video whenever you want to, and you will be able to do this at your own speed, on your own time. You will be able to pause the video if you need to. So if I do go a little bit too fast in certain sections, you'll be able to pause it and get caught up and then continue. Or let's say, you know, you're in the middle of doing it and something comes up, you know, someone else needs your attention for something, you'll be able to stop it and come back and continue where you left off. So I'm just going to continue to color. And again, like I said, this is not normally what I do in my videos, because I don't like to make you guys stay on to watch me do all the coloring, but because this is a class, I am doing it this way. Now that craft along class that I talked about, that is another one that I will be going. We will be going step by step on that one as well. So I do have a couple where if you're crafting along with me, I do slow myself down a little bit so that you can keep up and do that with me. And then of course, you know, all my videos are recorded, so you can always go back and look at them. The only ones that won't be available for you to go back and look at is like from this point forward, my class to goes, those are going to be private videos only. And so those will only, the only people that will have access to those is the people who purchase the class. All right, and as you can see, it really doesn't take that long to get this colored in. You know, I think the hardest part about this one is this little tiny plane. It's kind of hard to see like where everything connects on this one. So it, you know, it was a little bit harder to kind of follow the line of where, because I think actually this wing, part of this wing is there and part of that wing is there. There we go. And so it, like I said, you know, sometimes it's just a little bit harder to, because it's little, to get it colored in. And so basically on the tire, I'm just going to kind of dot and make the black. All right, so then we're on our last plane, which is this one right here. And again, the body is cherry cobbler. And again, I don't want you to stress out if you don't have all of these colors that I'm using, because you can most definitely use what you have. And especially if, you know, let's say that you do another one later with some other designer series paper, then you're going to want to make it match that. So now let's come in with the light. And again, I'm just kind of blending this together. And remember, it's not about how hard you push with your blends. It's more about the saturation. So getting good blending is about making sure that you're getting good saturation. And that just means that you're getting it, you know, good and wet with this. And I'll show you what I'm talking about, because you know you're doing it right when it's bleeding through the back. So a lot of people think you have to push really hard for this to work, and you do not. All right, so there's that. So now let's do the wings. So this would be a good time if anyone's got any questions and wants to know anything about what I'm doing or my class to goes. Like I said, these are, I announced them on my Facebook page, which is Julie's Creative Stamping. So everyone always has a heads up when they're coming. And again, if I will also put a link in if you want to sign up for my newsletter, because I always post in my newsletter any classes that are coming up, and then I'll also post reminders to anyone to let anyone know you know, that these classes are coming up. This is the deadline for registration. I have to do deadlines because I have to get these kits out to you before the videos go up. So it's really important that and I do stick to the deadlines, guys. If, you know, I did have one just recently that I'm starting a card making 101, and I had a date set, and I had a couple people that didn't see it and had been waiting for it, and so I did extend it for them. But that is not gonna, oh, see, I should not have done that. I was talking and not paying attention to what I was doing. But that's good, because I'll get to show you how to use the color lifter. So basically, I kind of went over the leg of the wheel there, and I wanted that to be gray. And so let me show you what you can do. If you've never used the color lifter before, this is our color lifter. And basically what it does is it comes in, and I can just kind of start lifting that color back out of there. See how it's kind of removing that color? I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it doesn't make it go all the way back to white, but it does lift up enough of the color that I will be able to use the smoky slate on it. So if you guys have never seen that, hopefully that's a a new thing that you learned today. Right, so I'm going to let that dry just a bit, but I'm going to go ahead and color this side and then this one here. And then let's see if this is dry enough. Yep, it let me put that smoky slate right in over that. So the color lifter is a must-have if you're going to be doing blending. Again, because, you know, when you do a boo-boo like I just did, it allows you to fix it. All right, so there's that. All right, the other thing that we want to do while we're stamping and coloring is we are going to stamp the medium plane coming in down here. So this is our medium plane. I sure hope this is streaming because you guys are all really quiet tonight. Y'all usually aren't this quiet, so I hope it's not because I'm doing all this work and nothing's showing up. That would be awful. That would be a huge bummer. All right, so let's go ahead and get this one colored in. And I know you guys sorry, are probably really sick of seeing me color. But again, you know, if you're doing this class with me, then obviously you're not bored. You're watching it with me. So obviously not as boring as if you're not doing the class and you're just kind of sitting and watching. But hopefully I'm going to teach you guys just kind of like that color lifter, some fun techniques as we work through this. And you'll see too that I don't just like color. I just kind of do it, and you know, I do these little just like I draw lines basically. I took a Copic class once, and she called it flicking, but I never felt like I could flick really good. So I don't use that terminology because anyone who's taken a Copic class will watch me and say that is not flicking. But that's kind of where this little technique originated from. Alrighty. Almost done with the coloring, guys. All right. Then we just need the smoky slate for the legs. And the basic black. So obviously if you are using Stampin' Up markers or any other type of markers that aren't an alcohol-based blending marker, you know, then you're just going to have to be very light-handed with how much color that you add on to these. Okay, so we've got that done. Okay, so now what we want to do is using Night of Navy ink. I'm going to use that same sentiment stamp, You Always Lift Me Up, and we are going to actually stamp this kind of in this bottom section. If you'll look at the picture on your PDF, oh, let's come back out a little bit. If you'll look at the bottom set or the PDF, the pictures, you'll notice that the sentiment is actually stamped directly on here. And so you'll want to kind of look at that picture to kind of tell kind of where to position that. So I am going to make this straight before I stamp. And then I'm going to come in and I am just going to stamp that sentiment right there, directly onto the Designer Series paper. The next stamping that we're going to do is the sentiment for the inside. And for this one, I use the sentiment that says, "You're the best, plain and simple." Again, like I said, use whatever sentiments you want. Remember, these are your cards. Make them yours. Especially for those of you that may not have this set. Okay, but I do want to show you. So you guys got most of the suite when you got ordered the kit, as far as designer series paper, but there's the number for the suite. And then if you are interested and you don't have the bundle, which is the stamp set and the dies, there's that item number. So you're more than welcome to, you know, go online and get that ordered. And especially if you feel like, yeah, you know, I really don't like my sets that I'm using and I'd rather have that, then you know what, go ahead and order those, and then you can come back to this video and make your cards. You know, but I mean, you can, and pretty much you could do a lot of this ahead of time, as far as, you know, getting some of this put together. Okay, so I think we've got all the stamping done. So now I'm going to bring in my little mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine, and we are going to cut out all of these airplanes. So let me grab the dies. Now, if you don't have the dies, and you know, or you don't have dies for what you are sorry, I'm going to put this on the ground first and kind of tape all these in place. If you don't have this set, or you don't have dies for the stamp set that you are using, just fussy cut around it. You can just fussy cut around, and that will do the job as well. So for those of you that are new to fussy cutting, all fussy cutting is basically just, you're not cutting directly on the line. You are leaving a slight edge, kind of like how these dies do when they cut them out. So I am just going to put all of these pieces in place. This is the card that's going to take the longest, because we had to do, I should say we got to do some coloring, not had to do. But I just really wanted to show you guys, you know, the whole variety of this entire suite. I mean, you can do like we did in the first card, where you're using the dies to design your planes. Or you can do this where you're stamping and coloring. And I like both versions of that. Alrighty. All right, so we are going to be going through this. We're going to cut those out. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, and we're just going to be removing all of these, setting them to the side. And I always try to put my dies back on. I get these vent covers from Lowe's, and then I cut them down to fit. So I keep all my dies on a magnetic backing. And the nice thing is that if you're not a demonstrator like me, and you actually can, they actually will fit, and I'll show you that really quick here. These dies, will actually fit, like when you do this and you cut them down to, you can take them out of their cover, and they will actually fit right on the inside of your stamp case, so that you have your dies and your stamps all together. I don't do that just because I teach classes, and I sometimes use the dies on with other stamp sets, so I don't do it that way. Okay. All right, so I think we've got all the stamping done. Obviously, I just did the die cutting on this one. And so one more thing that we want to do, it's not really die cutting, but it is cutting. So you can either, if you have a banner punch, that will put the little banner in here. You can do that. I'm trying to look at the reading. Okay, so it says side, so this is the bottom. If you don't, we just want to make this into a banner, and we're going to do that by just finding the center and snipping straight up the center, and then we're going to move to the corner and cut straight to the center, and then do the same thing on this side. Okay, so that is the way you do it if you do not have a punch that punches this out on the bottom. Okay, I think we're ready to assemble, guys. So now you want to bring in your card base, which is your cherry cobbler card base. All right. And then we're going to take that designer series paper that we stamped the sentiment on, and we're going to go ahead and put that onto the front of the card base. You can see the back of this. This piece came from, there's a sheet in there that has a bunch of like bookmarks, and it's kind of like a collage. It has a bunch of different size things in it, and we're going to use some of those a little bit later. But you can see that's where that was the other side of this paper. All right, so I'm going to open this up, and I am going to get this on here like so. Then I am going to come in with this banner piece, and instead of this banner piece is actually going to go all the way and attach to the top of the card base, not just to the top of the designer series paper. But you'll see by how I stamped it that I'm able to get that "you always lift me up" kind of in the center of that banner. And that's what you're looking at doing. Hopefully you were able to tell, you know, about where to put that. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on this one tip just to make sure it stays down. All right. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to bring it in from this side so that I get it lined up at the top. All right, and then it's going to kind of center that. It's going to kind of frame that little sentiment down there. Okay, then you should have a piece that is this square, the gray granite square plaid. And we're going to bring that in, and we're going to, it's going to be pretty close to this side over here. We want to be able to obviously see some of this over here. And so we're going to just place that the best that you can there, because you want to be able to see, because I thought this was kind of a cool piece, because those are like airplane blueprints, and I really liked that that paper right there. All right. So that's going to fit like so. Then I'm actually going to put this one on first because I want to pop this one up. And so this time I'm going to use regular dimensionals and just show you what I was talking about, you know, you can get a little more, you don't have to use as many, and you can also cut these in half if you want to. So like in these bigger sections, they fill the section much better, and you're not having to use as many. But then when you get over here, you'll want to just like, I always just kind of go along this edge here, and I just kind of snip, and I do a lot, and then that allows me to have basically like half of a regular dimensional. All right, so here's this one. And here's this one. And again, I'm just kind of making sure that if this is a card that ends up getting mailed, that when it goes through that little roller at the post office, that it's going to live through the roller. All right. And then you might want to, like, I think I might want to kind of get these two little pieces here, like that are between these. And I'm going to put those on the wheel. You know, I normally don't use a lot of dimensionals, but you know, guys, you take time to make these cards really pretty. And you want them to arrive looking the way that they did when they left your house. And so, you know, use your dimensionals. You know, make sure that you get a good coverage on there so that it's going to stay up. I think I'm going to go ahead and add another one right over here. And I'm trying to decide. I think I can do a half one over there. We'll see. Yep, that works just like that. And so that's part of it. You're going to be kind of, as you're, you know, putting this together, you're going to be able to kind of see where you want things. Okay, so this one, if it'll unstick from me. So this one, we're just going to kind of put in an angle coming in this direction. Then we're going to take our smallest airplane and we're going to use some of the liquid glue. And it's going to be flying in from this top corner over here. And then our medium airplane is going to be flying in from down here. And I'm going to kind of do it at an angle so that it fits in this section right here. I mean, like I said, I really fell in love with this set. The more I worked with it, the more I just really, really liked it. I'm going to put the inside in, and then I'm going to come back and show you what to do with those industrial trinkets that you got in your kit. And remember, if you guys are just joining me, this was the Take to the Sky Class to Go kit. Normally, you would not see this video as a live, but I'm just trying to show everybody what you would see on the recorded video that you get and show you how I'm going to walk you step by step how to put this together. And if you didn't get the kit and you're falling in love with these cards, you can still get the card kits. You can't get the Class to Go kit, but you can get the card kit by simply just placing a $40 order with me between now and next Wednesday. And so today is what, the 12th? So that would be the 19th. So I'm just going to use glue dots for these trinkets. And the cool thing about these trinkets is you can put the flat side down, or you can put the more rounded side down. And so I'm putting the rounded side down on this. Now it does make this, it does make it stick up quite a bit, you know, so, you know, you got to consider that if you're going to be mailing this to somebody. All right, so there's that one. Now understand, guys, that, you know, I'm doing a lot of these as friendship cards and, you know, but even if it says you're the best plain and simple, you can add Happy Father's Day to that. You can add Happy Birthday to that. So what I'm talking about, it says you always lift me up. You're the best plain and simple. You can write Happy Birthday. You can stamp Happy Birthday. You can write Happy Father's Day. You can stamp Happy Father's Day. But again, one of the things that I love about this set, for those of you that are card makers, you guys know, hard to find masculine cards. All right. So there's that card. What do you guys think? Oh, I hope you guys are liking them. Okay, now the next few cards will not take as long because we're not doing like a ton of coloring. I don't even know if we're doing any coloring. Okay, so we are done with card 2, so you can move that to the side and out of your way. And then you're going to want to bring in your packet for card 3. And grab the instructions. And remember, you know, if there's any stamping, we do this. I try to always do the stamping first, unless you really need to die cut first and then stamp. But obviously in these classes, because I can't do the stamping for you, I'll always have stamping listed first. All right, so let's look at what you should have in this kit. This is kit number 3. There's quite a bit in this kit. So there should be a propeller. Oh, I see it. Okay, so you should have a smoky slate base. Sorry. I'm trying to get my stuff to quit falling on top of me over here. So hold on one hot second. Okay. So you should have a smoky slate base. You should have this little tiny blue propeller. You should have a detailed plain in Night of Navy, and then a plain base in Misty Moonlight. You should have a piece of white here. We'll be stamping clouds on this, or you can draw clouds if you guys, again, if you don't have the set. You should have this little bookmark, and then I don't know if I like snip those edges off, but you'll want to snip those edges off. You should have this strip of designer series paper, and then you should have a piece of 4x5 1/4 Night of Navy and a 4x5 1/4 white. Okay, so let's do our stamping first. So our stamping, we're going to use the clouds this time. And I'm going to start with the largest cloud. And I believe I used Night of Navy ink. But it's really important on this first one that you stamp off. We want 2nd generation on this one. So what that means is that I'm going to ink it up. Right? And then I'm going to stamp off, because I want most of that gone away. And then I'm going to stamp that cloud. And you'll see why I did that in just a second. And that's still kind of dark. You might even want to do 3rd generation. I think it's going to be okay, but that's still a lot darker than I thought it was going to be. Okay, so then you want to come in with that medium cloud. And this one is going to be full ink. And then there's a small cloud. Oh, actually, I think I did 2 mediums. Oh, yeah, I did 2 mediums because I did one fully inked and one not fully inked. So let's clean those. I need to re-wet my chamois. It's not very wet, so it's giving me some issues getting these clean. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to come in with that sentiment, the "You're plain and simple" sentiment. And this, we want this to be really dark, so we're going to ink this up really good with your Night of Navy ink. And then again, I'm going to make sure this is straight. But I want to stamp this right in those clouds. Okay. So it says, "You're the best, plain and simple." Now, I'm not happy with that. I think it's too dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this over and stamp my cloud again down here, but I'm going to do 3rd generation stamping. So I'm going to stamp off twice and then stamp it way down here at the bottom. Oh, I picked that up. Oh, it's still okay. Then I'm going to come in and do that sentiment. So this does need to be 3rd generation. And the only reason, guys, is because I just recently re-inked my Night of Navy. Okay, there you go. That's much better. You can really see it well. So, you know, anytime that you're doing this type of stuff, again, you have to keep in mind, like sometimes maybe the first time you designed a card, you know, you only had the 2nd generation stamp, and I should have remembered that I recently did a class where I needed my Night of Navy and I re-inked it for the class. So, but when I made the original one, I hadn't re-inked it, so this was much lighter. Alrighty. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to come in with that. Actually, let me see if I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. All right, so we're gonna, so this is my Happy Father's Day card. If you want this to be a happy birthday, just change the sentiment out. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna use our medium airplane, and we're gonna do a 3rd generation stamp of this airplane right in the center of this. So I'm inking up, and then stamp, stamp, and then we're just going to stamp this right in the middle so it's nice and light. Okay, I'm going to make sure this is the right size before I do that. Yes, it is. Okay, then because this is going to be the Happy Father's Day one, so again, you can make it a Happy Father's Day, you can make it a happy birthday, you can, you know, make it what you want. I'm not even sure if I pulled the Happy Father's Day sentiment out. I must have, because it's not in here. So it's over here somewhere. Oh, there it is. So now I'm going to, I want this full ink, right? So fully inked, nice and dark. And I'm going to stamp it right in the middle of that airplane. Okay. So that just gives it kind of another really cool look where you've got that stamped image behind, but then your sentiment's right in the center there. So let me just clean this off really quick. And what's funny is I actually went up and had washed out a chamois for this, and I set it down somewhere, and I don't know where I set it down. All right, so now I think we have all the stamping done. Okay. So now we're ready to die cut out these clouds. So I'm going to obviously cut this one out first, and then I'll turn it over and cut these 2 out. Again, if you do not have the dies, but you have the stamp set, then you're going to stamp those clouds, and then you're going to fussy cut around them. I know we don't always like to hear the word fussy cut, but we got to do what we got to do, right? So let me just get this lined up. We're going to tape that in place and flip that around. So we're going to go ahead and die cut that one out first, and then we're going to die cut those other 2 out. And again, if you don't have the dies, then fussy cut around it. If you don't have the stamp set or the dies, but you like this whole cloud thing, but you have another set that has some dies with clouds, then you'll want to you know, cut those clouds out. So whatever set you have that has clouds, you're going to want to cut some clouds out, is what I'm saying right now. All right, so now let's grab this medium, and we'll have to do this twice because we only have 1 medium die. Sometimes in our sets we get, especially if they're small, sometimes in our sets we get 2 of the same die, so that if you're wanting to cut out multiples at the same time, it gives you the ability to do that. Alrighty. And then we're going to cut that one out. And if you don't have any cloud dies, I'm going to show you a trick right now. So you could take a pencil, if I can find my pencil, which that is, oh, there it is. You could find a pencil, and you could take your pencil, and then I'm going to use this side because this would be the bottom of my cloud. And then I can just kind of draw, you know, draw some clouds in. That would be a low one. And then if I wanted a high one, you know, I could draw some high clouds in just like that. And then just fussy cut around that. And then you have your clouds. So there's a solution if you don't have this set and you do not have any cloud dies that you can use. Okay. All right, so we are ready to start assembling. So we want our card base. Make sure you're burnishing that with your bone folder. And then we are going to, and burnishing just means I'm like reinforcing that crease. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus for this. All right, and then there's that. And then what we want to do is we want to adhere this strip of paper over here on the left side. So we're, and make sure you're paying attention. You don't put it so that your planes are upside down. The only reason I say that, ladies, is because I've done it before. All right. So we kind of want to center it top and bottom, and then and then just a little bit on the left side. So like so. Okay, so now you're going to want to punch a hole in the top of this. Now I have a crocodile. This is, you can get this at, I think Hobby Lobby still sells them, but I know you can get it online. And so like right here and right here are the punches of this thing. And so I'm just going to put mine in there where I can see that center. And then I'm just going to punch a hole right in the middle of that bookmark. Then you're going to want to bring in your linen thread and just pull a little bit out. And what I like, this tends to like stay wound up. And so I'll use my bone folder to kind of stretch it out so that it will stay straight for me. So I'm just going to basically fold this in half. And then I am going to, actually, I think if I remember right, yes. So I just put one piece through that center right there. And then what I ended up doing was tying a knot up here at the top. And if you don't like that, you can feed it through however you want to. Just remember, we're going to be putting a little trinket on there. So you want to make sure that whatever you do here doesn't put so much, so that the trinket doesn't fit. Okay, and then we're going to come in with this piece. And we're going to stick it about there. Yours, I think, is probably a little bit wider. I may have cut mine a little bit smaller because I didn't realize that I had cut part of it off from the other side. But yours should be a little bit wider than this. Okay, and so we just want to, again, centering top and bottom. And then we want this kind of left and right. So that piece is going to go like so. All right, then we are going to build our airplane. And again, like I told you on the last airplane, make sure that you've checked it, that all of the little pieces, because like, see, this whole section still has those pieces in it. And I think I've lost my propeller. I knew that was going to, oh, there it is. Be careful with those propellers. They disappear quick. Okay, so we're going to put the detailed piece onto the front. And again, like I said, I just put a little bit of glue in these areas that I know are touching the base. So we're going to just line that up and stick that on top. Like so, and then we're going to add our propeller. There, it does actually, you see me turning that propeller around because it does actually fit a certain way onto so that it has that angle. Oops, a little too far in. Okay. So there's that. Again, we're popping this up, and I'm going to go ahead and use the big ones just so that we can get through this a little bit faster. So we're just going to add some dimensionals to the back side of your airplane. And some of you may have been smart, and you may have assembled some of this stuff ahead of time, and so you're waiting on me because I am going off the premise that we are starting from scratch and that nobody has pre-prepped their kits once they got them. Meaning that you didn't go in and build your airplanes or, you know, any of that stuff, which is fine. Fine if you didn't, not a big deal. Okay, I think I'm going to cut one of those little pieces in half again so that I can get the pieces that I need here. Ah, don't stick to that. Oh no. Alrighty. And then we'll cut two small ones from down here to put in the wheels. All right, and then we're just going to pull all those top papers off. If you guys have not seen this tool that I'm using, it's called the Take Your Pick tool. Best tool ever made. It's got a lot of different attachments that you can put on it to be used for different things. This top side picks up, it's got putty in it, and it picks up little tiny embellishments so that you can add them to your card. Yeah, and then this piece down here, we've got a spatula end. We've got some stylus ends that fit in here. It's a really cool tool. Okay, so this one, so we want this airplane to be fairly low down here, but again, we want him to fit completely on this, and then you're going to bring in this cloud, and this cloud is going to be, your sentiment cloud is going to be down here at the bottom. So here's this. You guys, if you're on here and you're sending me in comments, it is not showing me any comments. So I apologize if you are asking questions and I am not answering them because I am not seeing any comments right now. So just wanted to put that out there and let you know that. I kept moving this because I want this to kind of cover that corner right there. And then the darker cloud, I want to actually pop up. So let's bring in some dimensionals. And it is over here. And then this one is going to go right here. Okay, then you're going to bring in one of those trinkets. Sorry. Actually, let's put the inside in first before we bring the trinket in. So yeah, if anyone is putting in comments, I'll have to see them later because I am not seeing them on the screen. And I do apologize. I'm going to check my phone really quick just to see if there's any it doesn't show that I have any comments yet, so I guess we're good. Okay, always make sure that you have it on the right side so that you don't put this in upside down. That would be a disaster after doing all that work on the front of your card. All right. I got a little bit too much glue there, so I'm going to bring in my glue remover, glue eraser. Okay, and then I just need one more of these little trinkets. And I'm going to do the round side down again. And I'm just going to take a little glue dot. And we're just going to cover that, basically that hole. So now you can see why I didn't want to like have a really thick piece of string coming out from here, because I wanted to be able to add that. And then this can either bend down this way or it can do this way. I've got mine kind of, I trained them, and so I'm going to kind of, again, take my bone folder and just kind of do that little turn so that it folds the way I want it to fold. All right, so there's card 3. You're the best, plain and simple. Happy Father's Day. All right, so now you need to clear your space. And while you guys are doing that, I'm gonna actually just kind of give everybody a sneak peek of, you know, when you do buy these kits, I do these really nice PDFs for you. And I'm just gonna show you one of them. So it has the pictures on the front, and then it has all the supplies that I used, and then it has the step-by-step instructions for you. So you will get that. Oh, hey, Sue. I'm glad you're here with me. So if you did the class to go, you got all of those PDFs with your card kit. All right, we are on card 4. And again, for those of you joining that didn't get the class to go, this is just an example. Normally this is a video that gets sent privately to anyone who does my class to go. But I'm kind of showing you guys what to expect with the class to go so that you guys have an idea if you want to do one or not. And so basically this is just me showing you how that goes, but it is a step-by-step instruction. So you have to watch me color, you have to watch me do some die cutting. Most of the die cutting and stuff is sent to you ahead of time. I mean, I do all the die cutting for you. The only thing, like I said, Stampin' Up! Does not allow us to stamp. And so you either have to have the stamp set I'm using or another stamp set that will work with what we're doing. So I know a lot of people that use their own stamp sets, and we do just fine in these classes. Okay, card 4, you're going to want this Night of Navy card base. You're going to have a 4x5 1/4 basic white piece. You're going to have a small strip, and I don't know if I already did the banner on this one for you guys. And then you're going to have all of these pieces here. So you're going to have the little tow bar. What is that? I think that's just a piece off of the, yeah. Okay. So these are all the pieces that you're going to need. So we're going to do our stamping first. And again, if you don't have this stamp set, you're fine. You're just going to need to figure out what you want to use. Now, this card is horizontal. So make sure when you're stamping, we're going to, instead of stamping this way, we're stamping this way. So we're going to use that large cloud again. We're going to come in with Night of Navy ink. Oh, you're from Virginia. Well, thank you, Sue. I'm so glad that you're joining me tonight. Again, this is just a sampling of my class to goes that I offer. I do craft alongs, which I do live, but these particular classes are, You get this video and then you get to do it at your own pace. But you get all the parts and pieces that you need to put these cards together, except, like I said, stamps. We're not allowed to stamp for you, so you either have to use your own or you know, get the stamp set. Because you don't really need the die set, because I do all the die cutting for you. But if you decide that you fall in love with this whole suite, then obviously you would want to do that. Okay. Now on this little piece, we want to, yours was the exact size. Mine's a little bit bigger. Oh, I need to clean that off. Mine is going to be a little bit longer because I just grabbed what I had sitting here for this. But yours might be smaller and it already has the banner, and you want to stamp as close to the end of that banner as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the little banner in here so you can see what I'm talking about. Again, you want to just go right to the center, cut, come in from each side and cut. So Sue, what time zone are you guys in Virginia? We're mountain time here. I live in New Mexico. Whoops. Okay. Well, maybe I can cut a nice banner. Golly, that was kind of a hot mess. Okay, so then we're going to turn that. We're going to bring in the happy birthday. And again, I try to line it up on the lines. And then we're going to try to see if I can get this to stamp straight. Not so straight. That's why I have another side. All right, let's do that again. Actually, my paper's messing me up because I have this on such a small block that it makes it more difficult for me to see the placement of my stamps. So what I'm going to do is bring in my silicone craft sheet so that then I can actually see this a little bit better. All right, let's try that again. Woohoo! There we go. Much better. Yeah, when I had it on this graph paper and I went to stamp it, this white kind of blended in with that, and it wasn't so hot. Didn't work so good. Okay, let me stick that to the side. And then we're going to start putting this card together because obviously you guys, Eastern time. So, oh, it's 9:30. Oh, 9:38 and you're still watching. Wow. Of course, I stay up late. I'm a late night stamper. I think that's because that's about the only time I can get stuff done, is late at night. That's when it's quiet in my house. And so that's when I do this. Okay, so again, you have another one of these little bookmarks. So you will want to, if I didn't already do this for you, go ahead and cut those corners off. And this is the Take to the Sky Designer Series paper. Okay, and then you'll want to do that hole punch again. And like I said, I have my crocodile. You might have just a hole punch. So whatever you have at your fingertips is what you're going to want to use. All right. Oh, I forgot about that. I'm sorry. I knew there was something else I was stamping on this card. So what I wanted to do on this card was stamp color on color and just give this kind of a cool look. Okay, so I just kind of came in and I just stamped some clouds, and you can see I'm like second and third generation stamping. Now I'm going to close this at the top so I don't get it on the back side. And I have no rhyme or reason for how I stamp. Just so you know, I just stamp. Well, I'm really glad you joined me, Sue. That's pretty cool. All right. Okay. Now I'm ready. Okay, so again, you're going to want to take your bone folder. You're going to want to burnish. Burnishing just means you're reinforcing that crease. Let's go ahead and build our airplane. So this time I had a copper clay base and a Night of Navy detail. I call this the detailed one because it was more detailed. So we're just going to pop all these little pieces out of here. So just, you know, I'm just telling you guys to check. I did die cut these for you, but you need to check and make sure that I got all those little pieces out. Okay, so we're just going to come in with our glue, just like we did with the other airplanes. I should have told my airplane story. It's not really my story, but when my son was about 12, my father-in-law got his pilot's license when he was 60, I think 68. Retired, decided he wanted to learn how to fly, and anyway, he was going somewhere, and I forget where he was going, but my husband and my son went with him, and I don't know if they were just going to fly over and check on cattle because he was a rancher or what they were going to do. But anyway, they took off and flew, and where they landed was this little dirt airstrip. And so they got out, did what they needed to do, and then when they went to take off, it was a lot hotter, and so it makes it a lot harder to get lift when it's hotter outside. And so so we're going to go ahead and put your linen thread in here just like I did last time. And so anyway, so when they tried to take off, and he'd run, you know, he'd take off, he'd get the engine revved up, and it was a little biplane just like this, a little but I mean not as old as this one, but it was a similar, it looked a lot like this one, but of course where they set was inside. Anyway, so it wouldn't go off the ground, and so they sat for a little bit and waited, and so then he tried one more time, and so they were going down this dirt road, and they got lift, and just as they were, you know, starting to come up off the ground, the air pushed them back down, and so it was kind of a crash landing. They went through this man's fence and tore up his fence, and it was pretty exciting. And so my son, you know, had been quiet this whole time. Every time, you know, they were trying to take off, and you know, later he tells the story, yeah, I was kind of scared, you know, because it wasn't, we weren't really taking off. And so when they crashed through that man's fence, he turned to his grandfather and said, so we're not going to try again, are we, Gramps? So he was about done. He was about done with his little exciting day of flying. So he just wanted to make sure that was their last try. It was unsuccessful, and they were going to be on the ground from there on out. So we ended up having to drive and get them. And of course they had to get the plane fixed because he wrecked the plane pretty good. But my son still remembers that incident. It's a pretty big memory in his life, but he just said, you know, his grandfather was pretty impressed that he didn't say anything until that last little bit where he's like, we're not going to try this again, are we? So he was about done. Okay, so then you're going to put this here, and then this other piece is going to go sideways right here. Again, make sure you're looking at the direction of your piece. Do not put it upside down. Again, guys, the reason I say these things, sometimes I know it sounds like I say these things and people are like, well, of course we wouldn't do that. Well, the only reason I say them is because I myself have done them. You know, and I am experienced, but sometimes if I'm in a card class, I'm busy gabbing with all the ladies around me, and I'm not paying attention. And sometimes I will put things in upside down. So I just caution you all to make sure you're paying attention to your placement on everything. Okay, so now what I want to do is this little banner that we did, which was the one I liked, this one. Okay, so I'm going to cut it pretty close to where it says happy right there. And this is kind of the tricky part, because I may actually have to trim some of this off and redo this, because this plain barely fits on here. Now, I did not pop this one up, but you need to get this to where it's as far to the right as you can get it. And so we're going to get the glue. I'm not going to put some glue here on the end because I need that toe bar to go underneath the end. So I'm just going to apply glue in these other sections where I need it. But I want to leave myself enough leeway that I can put this little toe bar that's going to tow our happy birthday sign. So this has got to be clear over here as far as I can get it. And then my little toe bar is going to come out. So I'm going to kind of do what I call dry runs. So now I'm going to look at my happy birthday, and I can see that it's going to be off my page. So one, I need to trim this side a little bit. So it's just barely underneath there. And then two, believe it or not, I'm going to cut off that banner, and I'm going to do another little banner. These are adjustments that you need to make sometimes when you're working with, you know, layering on your cards. And so, you know, because sometimes we place things just, and guys, even like, you know, a 1/16 of an inch difference makes a difference on whether things are going to fit. Okay, so I'm still not happy. That's still off the edge. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off some of this little toe bar. I know, funny story, right? It was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, my son was quite done with flying that day anyway. So I'm going to put just a little strip of glue there because I just barely want this to be on there. I don't want it to cover much of that Y. So I'm going to glue that in place. Now normally I would use my silicone mat for that. And then I'm going to kind of see like how far do I need to kind of shove this up underneath there. This is where my little spatula tool is going to come in play and play with my take your pick tool. So I'm just going to be able to lift that up a little bit to see how far I need to kind of shove that up there. I think that right there will work. Okay, so I'm going to pull this back out, put some glue on it. Use my spatula tool again, get that up there and just kind of push it and move this. I'm not pushing any of it down hard yet so that glue is not going to get everywhere. And then we have our little toe bar with our happy birthday, writing in the sky. And then let's put the inside in, and then we'll put our trinkets on. And then for those of you that got the kit, I did put a bonus. I'm going to show you the bonus card, but I'm going to allow you guys to do that one on your own because, you know, I do 4 cards for you, but sometimes I will throw in a bonus PDF and a bonus card kit, which is what you guys got this month. And so, but if you have any questions, you can reach out to me if something doesn't make sense. It's a pretty simple one, but I actually used some retired paper on that one because I remembered that paper and I thought, oh my gosh, this paper is going to look perfect. Okay, so for this one, I actually put the crinkle side down. So when I put these on, I'm actually leaving that rounded side up because I wanted a little bit different look for this one. So that one's going to go there, and we're just going to put 3 of these on here. And again, you guys should have gotten the trinkets in your kit. And you've got tons of designer series paper because you got the whole pack. So you can make more of these cards if you want to. One of the reasons I like giving you guys the PDFs. All right. And so there is card number 4. So what do you guys think? Yeah, the copper with the navy blue. I agree, Sue. It's a really pretty combination. So that says, happy birthday. You're the best, plain and simple. All right, ladies. So we have done all 4 cards. Now I am going to show you the bonus. So you got it's called Adventurous Sky. You did get this PDF and it says bonus card. And let's see if you guys remember this designer series paper. Do you guys remember this designer series paper? It's got that gold. So this one should be pretty easy for you to do. It's just stamping the clouds, putting the clouds on. It's a pretty simple, I did already die cut the plane for you. And so you're just gonna, I made this one a Happy Father's Day, but you can make it whatever you want. But I think I've showed you enough how to put the planes together. You have the step-by-step instructions, so you should be able to do this. But this, I can't remember what this was called. I think it was, so this is Cinnamon Cider. Remember our Cinnamon Cider cardstock? So pretty. But the copper clay would have looked really pretty with this too. I think it was something about World of something. But anyway, I happen to have this designer series paper, so I wanted to give you guys a bonus and a thank you for, purchasing the class to go and trusting me that you were going to have some stuff that was worth your time and your effort. So that is it for the 4 cards that are in there. Again, guys, I do have my craft along coming up in June. As soon as I shut this down tonight, because I had so many problems earlier tonight with my internet, I was not able to put the link in for this if you want to do the craft along. The craft along is done a little bit different. I mean, it's kind of done like what you saw tonight. But again, you get the card kits and, and you get a few goodies in that one, but not as much as the class to go. But my craft alongs, I always do live. So that is coming up in June. And I believe the registration date is like within the next few days that you have to be registered for that one if you want to do that one. But I will put the link in for that. Thank you, Sue. I'm so glad you were with me tonight. All right. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. I hope that you guys were able to keep up with me. If not, I will be sending all of you that did this class to go. I will be sending you that link for the video. And so you can watch it again and again, and you can slow it down, speed it up, whatever you guys need to do. So appreciate all you guys. I always appreciate your time. It really touches my heart when somebody steps in and says hi, because time is precious. And I'm so glad that you spent a little bit of time with me tonight. So anyway, guys, I will see you next Wednesday. I will see some of you at my class tomorrow. And then next Wednesday, I will see you for it's going to be the card making 101. And so if you have any friends that are new to card making, you might want to tell them to step in. This is another one that you can register for ahead of time, but that registration is over. So now you'll just have to watch it, but it is going to give new card bakers some information to see if this is something that they want to do. So if you have new people that are getting into this, tell them to check me out next Wednesday. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate everybody, and everyone have a good evening.